Assalamu alaikum, beautiful people. Today we will discuss about science, the cell, and the molecular biology. Chapter 1. Evolutionary processes have resulted in approximately million species, of which 1.4 million species have been described. Answer is about 4 to 30. Ideas concerning the theory of organic evolutions were published and supported with convincing evidences by Charles Darwin in 1859. One source of evidence for evolution is dash. The source is the study of the distribution of organisms around the world and helps explain why animals on different continents are often very different, even um, though their environments are similar. It also explains why fossils of animals now living in Africa occurs in South America. Answer is biogeography. Two structures that are similar because of common ancestry are called homologous structure. Paleontology is direct source of evidence of evolution because it is the study of plants or animals remains or impressions that have been incorporated into the earth's crust. When two unrelated animals adapt to similar conditions and superficial structures, similarity results dash evolution has occurred. It is about convergent evolution that had been occurred. Though the year 2000, about 92% of the population growth expected to occur is third world country. The one environmental problem that is the root of all other environmental problem is overpopulation. The first part of the binomial name of an animal is the genus, and the other part is species. All of the following are presum- uh, presuppositions of science except one. Select the exception, that is, science provides absolute knowledge. In an experiment, the dash serves as basis for comparing data derived from the experiment, that is control. When scientists talk about dash, they are talking about a concept that has been supported by data from years of research, that is theory. A scientist attempts to formulate a reasonable explanation for the question she is asking. This explanation is called hypothesis. In an experiment, the parameter that is being measured to access the outcome of the experiment is called the dependent variable. Which of the following might indicate that an idea being represented as scientific is actually based on pseudoscience? The assumptions on which the idea is based are not open to scientific testing. A fundamental unity in all life involves four common themes: a common genetic blueprint in DNA, a fundamental unit of life, the cell, a common evolutionary origin and shared evolutionary forces, and a common environment. Answer is true. Animals that have similar DNA molecules are considered evolutionarily related only if their proteins are substantially different. Answer is false. The wings of a bird and an insect are homologous. False. By the year 2001, the population of the Earth will reach approximately 6.35 million. True. Bad science is not as dangerous as a pseudoscience because the results of bad science will eventually be refuted. Pseudoscience is not open to scientific testing, and its conclusions may be difficult to distinguish from scientific conclusion. True. Any valid scientific experiment may have more than one independent variable. False. Any valid scientific experiment may have more than one dependent variable. That is true. A theory is a hypothesis that has been supported in an experiment. That is false. In science, the simple hypothesis that seems consistent with the evidence is usually the most easily tested. That is true. In an experiment, the controlled variables should be the same in both the experiment and control group. That is true. Second chapter, the chemical basis of animal life. The amount of matter in an object is referred to as its mass. Which of the following does not contribute to the majority of an animal's weight, that is sodium? The atomic number of dash in the nucleus of an its atom, that is neutron and proton. The atomic element of an the atomic number of an element is the number of dash in its nucleus, that is protons. If a substance can be broken down into two or more chemical element, it is called as compound. Which of the following is not a type of chemical bond? It's hydrophobic. When elements share outer shell electrons with other atoms, the chemical bonds that form are covalent bonds. Dash bonds form when an atom or group of atoms develop an electrical charge and attract an atom or group of atoms with an opposite charge, that are ionic. Which of the following is an electrolyte? NaCl. Distilled water has a pH 7. Which of the following is not a definition of pH, a measure of the hydroxyl ion concentration? The key element in all organic molecule is carbon. Substances that resist a change in pH are carbon buffers. Source of energy in animals come from carbohydrates. Two monosaccharides can combine to form a disaccharide. Chitin is a good example of a polysaccharide and a polymer. Lactose is made up of dash and dash, glucose and galactose. Steroids are naturally occurring lipids, soluble molecules, that is true. The individual building blocks of proteins are called amino acids, true. When two amino acids bond, they form a tripeptide, that is false. Actually, they form a dipeptide. A protein's linear sequence of amino acid is its secondary structure, false. Its primary structure. Nucleotides are made up of nucleic acid subunits, that is false. They are not made up of nucleic acid subunits. NAD plus and FAD are nucleotide coenzymes, that is true. Testosterone and cholesterol are good examples of steroids, that is true. The three-dimensional arrangement of more than one polypeptide gives some proteins their quaternary structure, that is true. Chapter number 3: Cell, Tissue, Organs, and Organ Systems of Animals. Eukaryotes cells do not have a dash, that they don't have a cell wall. All eukaryotic cells have three basic parts. Which of the following is not a basic part of typical eukaryotic cell, that is nucleoid? Which of the following is not a function of the cell's glycocalyx, that is transport? The ability of the plasma membrane to let some substances in and keep others out is called selective permeability. Energy required for active transport. The bulk movement of material into and out of a cell by the formation of vesicle is called endocytosis. If hydrostatic pressure is used to move a molecule through a membrane, this is termed as filtration. Dash are the non-membrane bound structures that are the site for protein synthesis, ribosome. Which of the following organelle function in the digestion of material, that is lysosome? Which of the following is not bound within a mitochondria, that is RNA? Which of the following is not a part of the cytoskeleton of eukaryotic cell, that are cilia? The centrioles arises from microtubules organizing center. The types of connective tissue that store lipid is called adipose tissue. Sun involved with protection and support and nourishment within the nervous system are called glial cells. Dash are the functional units of animal body, that are organs. The higher level of organization in animal body is the dash level, organismic level. All of the following are the types of connective tissue except nervous. The heart is a good example of an organ system, that is false. Intercalated disc would be found in smooth muscle cells, that is false. Collagenous fibers would be found in fibrocartilage, that is true. Simple squamous epithelium is found in the air sacs of the lungs, that is true. Stratified squamous epithelium is found on the surface of the skin, that is true. Both cilia and flagella function in movement, that is true. The nuclear environment from the plasma membrane, that is false. Clear? The Golgi apparatus consists of the stacks of cisternae, that is true. Fourth chapter is about the energy and enzymes, lights driving and controlling forces. Because plants capture solar energy, they are termed as primary consumers. The total of all the chemical reactions occurring in the cell is termed as metabolism. A breakdown reaction are catabolic in nature, and those reactions in which smaller molecules join up to form larger molecules are anabolic in nature. A typical food chain consists of primary consumers and decomposers. Chemical reactions that occur spontaneously are called exergonic reactions, that means they release heat. Endergonic reactions are those reactions that require heat to start. Which of the following is associated with the second law of thermodynamics? Entropy. All the objects in universe tend to become more disordered. The total amount of disorder in the universe is continual increasing. That is all true. Electrical energy passing through a hot plate to produce heat energy would be a good example of the first law of thermodynamics. Dash the lower the amount of oxygen energy required to initiate a chemical reaction, that is catalyst, enzyme, ribozymes, all are same. When a substrate molecules binds to an enzyme active site, dash forms enzyme substrate complex. Which of the following is a cofactor? Copper ions, calcium ions, magnesium ions, all are cofactors. Enzyme activity can be affected by temperature, pH, substrate concentration. The major energy currency of cell is ATP. One of the most important coenzyme in the cell is the hydrogen acceptor NAD that accepts hydrogen and changes into NADH. Within their cells, animals make ATP by substrate level phosphorylation and chemiosmosis. Both are true. From an evolutionary perspective, the oldest mode of generating energy is substrate level phosphorylation. NAD plus is an its dash form oxidized. The breaking of one high energy bond in ATP releases approximately 7 kilocalories of energy. I think so. This answer is not true. Here are 3 calories that is released by breakdown of an ATP molecule. Cells contain a reservoir of ADP and phosphate inorganic as long as the cell living. True. Coenzymes are non-protein organic molecules that participate in enzyme catalyzed reaction. That is true. The loss of an enzyme shape is called renaturation. That is false. It is actually denaturation. The reactants of enzymatic reactions are called substrate. That is true. Work is the transfer of matter. False. It is actually the transfer of energy. Bacteria and fungi are good examples of primary consumers. False. Kinetic energy is stored energy. False. Chemical reactions that do not proceed spontaneously are called endergonic reactions. That is true. The measure of the degree of disorder or disorganization is called entropy. That is also true. Fifth chapter, how animals harvest energy stored in nutrients. The end product of glycolysis is pyruvate. Which of the following occur in the cytoplasm? Glycolysis and fermentation. The end product of fermentation are lactic acid and alcohol. How many ATPs are produced in glycolysis? 4. The net ATP gain in glycolysis is 2. Aerobic respiration occur in mitochondria. The transfer of electron from one molecule to another is also occur in a redox reaction and an oxidation reduction reaction. Both are same. Fermentation regenerates dash which is needed to drive glycolysis to ultimately obtain ATP, that is NAD plus. When the oxidized form of FAD is reduced, it becomes FADH. The Krebs cycle generates 6 NADH. The eukaryotic cell obtain a net gain of dash ATP molecules from the breakdown of each glucose molecule, that is 36. When an amide group is removed from an amino acid to yield ammonia, this is termed as deamination. Free fatty acids can be catabolized by entering the Krebs cycle via acetyl coenzyme. Amino acids can enter the Krebs cycle via acetyl coenzyme A, pyruvate, or no intermediate. True. The total number of ATPs produced from the complete aerobic oxidation of molecule of glucose is 40. Reaction of the Krebs cycle occur in the mitochondrial matrix. The Krebs cycle and glycolysis is regulated by enzyme phosphofructokinase. Electrons from NADH and FADH2 generated in glycolysis and the Krebs cycles are passing along electron carrier molecules in the electron transport chain by way of oxidation reduction reaction. That is true. When the electrons reach the end of the electron transport chain, an oxygen molecule accepts the electron and combines with hydrogen to generate a water molecule. That is true. For each pyruvate molecule that enters the Krebs cycle by way of acetyl coenzyme, 2 carbon dioxide, 1 ATP, and 3 NADH2 and 1 FADH2 molecules form. That is true. Another name for the Krebs cycle is citric acid cycle. That is true. Oxidation of a molecule results in the gain of electron. That is false. It results in loss of electron. Oxidation reduction reaction always occur together. That is true. The end result of the anaerobic catabolism of one glucose molecule via glycolysis is one pyruvate molecule. That is false. Coenzyme A is necessary for pyruvate to enter aerobic respiration. That is true. Chapter 6, Cell Division. The period from a time a cell is produced until it completes mitosis is called cell cycle. Most of the cell cycle is occupied by the dash, that is interphase. Chromosomes replication occur during the dash S phase of mitosis. A copy of chromosome produced by replication is called chromatid. The mitochondria, the microtubules of the mitotic spindle are attached to the kinetochore. Chromosome become visible with the light microscope during dash phase. Prophase, the phase of mitosis that takes the least amount of time, is called anaphase. The mitotic spindle disassembles during what phase of mitosis? Telophase. Which of the following enzyme plays a central role in the control of the cell cycle? C2C kinase. The fusion of gametes is called syngamy. During prophase 1 of the meiosis, homologous chromosomes line up side by side in a process called synapsis. Crossing over is a form of genetic recombination. Spermatogenesis begins with an unspecialized cell called spermatogonium. In spermatogenesis, meiotic division 2 produces spermatids. An organism grows and matures into a primary oocyte. Once again, I'm telling you, these MCQs are very important and going to be very beneficial for you. In oogenesis in animals or humans, in order for the second mitotic division occurs, fertilization must. Each primary spermatocyte give rise to four spermatids. In oogenesis, the larger of the daughter cell is the secondary oocyte. That is true. Spermatids undergo one last meiotic division before maturing into spermatozoa. That is false. In meiosis, the second meiotic division resembles an ordinary mitotic division, except the number of chromosomes has been reduced by half. That is true. Homologous chromosomes carry genes for the same traits. That is true. Genetic recombination or crossing over is a major form of genetic variation. That is true. Evidences indicate that events in the nucleus controls the cell. That is false. Prophase begins once daughter chromosomes appear at opposite poles. That is true. Cell division occur in all animals. That is true. Chapter 7, Inheritance Pattern. The era of modern genetics began with the rediscovery of the work in Dash in 1900. Gregor Mendel. The principle of segregation states that the pair of hereditary factors are distributed between gametes during the gamete formation. Which of the following symbol would represent alleles of one another? Vg and Vg plus. A gene that hides the expression of its allele is dominant. The visual expression that results from the genetic makeup of an individual is phenotype. The parent in monohybrid cross are called heterozygous for genes at one locus. The offsprings of monohybrid cross are half homozygous and half heterozygous. Phenotypically recessive individuals make up dash of the following of monohybrid cross: one fourth. A geneticist cross two fruit flies, result is half wild and half vestigial. A geneticist score two fruit flies, same results. You can read them by yourself by stopping the video. Here is no difficulty in reading them. Move towards the chapter 8, chromosomes and gene linkage. Also here are the topics that are mentioned. You can also read by themselves by stopping the video or pausing them. Chapter number 9, Molecular Genetics, Ultimate Cellular Control. You can also read them by stopping the video because this video is going to be very helpful for you. Chapter number 10, Descriptive Embryology. You can also pause the video for your understanding. If you think that I am going very fast, you can pause the video to check the MCQs. Chapter 11, Evolution, a Historical Perspective and its MCQs. And true false are also mentioned. It's also very important for the Punjab University students because in their paper the MCQs portion is very important. Evolution and gene frequencies. Chapter number 13, it's about animal behavior, and all the MCQs are based on the animal behavior. Chapter number 14 is about ecology 1, individuals and populations. They are very simple MCQs and true false, and you can say the fill in the blanks that are here. Chapter number 15, ecology 2. If you think I am going fast, then pause the video and note down the MCQs that you want to note down. Animal classification, phylogeny, and organization in chapter number 16. If you are following another book, then you can also consult that book for this purpose. Chapter number 17, animal like protists, the protozoas. Chapter number 18, it's about multicellular and tissue levels of organization. Chapter number 19, it's about the triploblastic acoelomoid body plan. Wherever you need, you can pause the video to make sure to read the content. Chapter number 20, it's about the pseudocoelomoid body plan. Chapter number 21, it's about the molluscan success. If you don't understand any term, then mention in the comment section or directly inbox me. I'll explain you. It's about chapter number 22, annelids, the metameric body form. These MCQs are going to help you a lot. Chapter number 23, about the arthropods blueprint for success. Chapter number 24, it's about the hexapods and myriapods terrestrial triumphs. I'm again repeating, if you don't understand what I had said, pause the video and understand what I was actually saying in the previous section. Chapter number 25, the gynoderms, most simple and most interesting knowledge. I think so no one other than me can provide you the same knowledge. Chapter number 26, hemichordata and invertebrate chordates. Chapter number 27 is about the fish's vertebrate success in water. Chapter number 28 is about amphibians, the first terrestrial vertebrates. Chapter number 29 is about the reptiles, the first amniotes. Chapter number 30 is about the birds, feeders, flight, and endothermy. Chapter number 31 is about the mammals, specialized teeth, endothermy, hair, and viviparity. I again repeat, if you can't understand what was going here, pause the video and try to understand what I want to say you. Chapter number 32 is about protection, sport, and movement. Chapter number 33 is about communication 1, nerves. Chapter number 34 is about communication to senses. Chapter number 35 is about communication through the endocrine system and chemical messengers. Chapter number 36 is about circulation, immunity, and gaseous exchange. If you can't understand what I was saying, repeat the video. Chapter number 37 is about nutrition and digestion. Chapter number 30 is about 38 temperature and body fluid regulation. Chapter number 39 is about reproduction and development. And here comes the end. Stay motivated. God bless you. Allah Hafiz.